Hello everyone, today I'm going to be taking a look at RedGrass Games Painter Lite Wet Palette. Okay, so the Painter Lite then. This pack contains the Everlasting Wet Palette, the box itself, the Painter Lite, 50 sheets of paper, 2 foam pads and 1 strap band. So, a bit of information on the back. This is from previous packaging, so I think this is just a prototype or early packaging they sent across, because this does not have the magnetic bits and pieces. However, you can see there things like the sizing, 15 by 20 centimeters, and how to put it on, clean it, blah 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 blah. Crinkly. So, 50 sheets of paper and 2 foam pads, which are a pleasing grey colour this time round, and the RedGrass Games Lite. Apologise for the crinkling, although not really. So we take the strap off. Delightful. Okay, so there's a blue rubber seal, like a gasket seal, possibly silicone, around the outside. Snug, but not too snug. The bottom textured surface takes one of these foam pads then onto that, and then the paper on top. So this is essentially a budget version. It's the same size as their standard painter. There is a studio size coming. The only main difference between this light version and then the more expensive version, because I have one of the old ones which I use, is it doesn't have connection points. So version 1 used magnets. Version 2 has mechanical locking, and they're on both short ends and one of the long ends. So it could go there as well. So this is the, like I say, the studio version. If I pop that in, ooh, barely fits under the camera. You can see it's twice the size. An important thing about this is the real estate it takes up. I have a painting area, which means I can afford to have a big chunk of my desk covered with the studio version. If you don't, the smaller painter size is probably just as good. I will say this is probably going to be tricky. Oh no, there we go. This has the old gasket on it, which could be very difficult to remove. You can see I've been doing some painting. So sometimes you'll find that if you're in a very humid climate, that you can actually, this seals almost too well and it's tricky to open. So the smaller version, having a slightly more, I wouldn't say loose seal, but an easier seal to open, easier tray, means that you're not going to be fighting with it. But also, what you shouldn't see then is condensation building up on the inside. I am actually going to go and spend a few days using this. So when I come back, I'll be able to tell you how I think it performs. Okay, I'm back. I've been using this for just over a week now, and it does exactly what it says in the tin. As far as wet pallets go, I've used it for all sorts of bits and pieces. I haven't opened this now in 3 days. So these were contrasts, and they're still fluid enough I could reactivate them. Thinned metallics, regular paint, and I think that was an ink. Yeah. So 3 days without being opened. Like I say, I've used this consistently for about a week now. And it does the job very well. If you're after a standard wet palette, no ifs, no buts, nothing strange or startling, it's a great way of doing it. There's no frills, no fanciness, because it's based on their standard sizes. So this is 15 by 20, and then the large studio version, which you've already seen, the blue version, will be coming in this Painter Lite as well, which is 20 wide by 30. So depending on the size of area you have to work in, one or the other will do you. I believe the glass palettes they do for dry palette or oil work fit, well, I don't believe they will fit inside these, because they're made in exactly the same size as their standard wet palette. So if you're after a cheaper entry point, the RedGrass Games Painter Lite is perfect for getting into wet palette work. So there we have it. I've been using the wet palette for some time now, and it's perfectly good. It does exactly what it says on the tin. If you've not bought a wet palette before, it's a very accessible price point to come in on. If you have the room to use the XL, the studio size palettes, then they're very, very good as well. I've been using the Everlasting palette for quite some time now, the studio size one. But if you don't have a permanent setup, the smaller version will do the job very neatly. It also still works with the glass palettes, the inserts for oils or for dry palette work for acrylics. So they fit because all the palette sizes are standardized across RedGrass Games. But if you haven't tried using a wet palette before, it changes up how you paint. So if you're looking to take another step, try out some new techniques, and you're after a wet palette, then yeah, definitely give this one a go. Or like I say, if you've got the size for the studio, go for the big one. Until next time, folks, bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.